on the grounds of Windsor, someone is pulling a reverse Paul Revere and screaming, the Sussexes are coming! The Sussexes are coming! Please, I hope you all got that historical reference. Now, it's a lot of fact versus fiction going on. So let me tell you exactly what we're going to get through today. And I got my friend Michelle from Royal Daily Tea to discuss. We're going to bring her up in just a hot second. But here we go. We got a lot going on. We got Harry and Meghan's security situation. Who's paying for it? I know who it is. The Olive Branch residents. Where are they going to stay? I think I know. Then we've got William versus Charles, the supposed civil war. Meghan to launch another business during this trip. Is she going to soft launch? We'll get into it. And some of the other nonsense, which it is actual nonsense. I just need to tell you all right now, Meghan does have 2 children. Their names are Archie and Lily, and she gave birth to them. I'm sorry if you do not believe that, but trust me, in the business, it's called sealing the deal. And she sealed that deal with Harry L. twice. So I'm going to bring in my friend and royal commentator, Michelle. Hi, honey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Now, before we get into it, I want to read this piece from another friend of mine, Allison Boshoff, who is fabulous. And I love this piece. It came out in the Daily Mail, and some of it is on her Substack. So anyone who does not belong to Allison's Substack, y'all should go on, as well as Michelle's. And it's interesting. She's saying a lot of what I've been saying. So we're going to go through it. All right?
Sounds good.
She says the Sussexes emotional blackmail of the king. Yes, that is true. The timing was pure Sussex, while many royal journalists were at Ascot and watching the Prince and Princess of Wales wreathed in smiles. Out came the news that Meghan and the kids were going to join Prince Harry in the UK next month. Harry has long since announced he'll be coming to launch the 2027 Invictus Games in Birmingham in July. Again, you guys, he has to. They need cash desperately. And by they, I mean Invictus. Also, Meghan and Harry, we'll get into that later. Straight away, the triumphant briefings began. One said that the king had paved the way for this to happen by paying for Harry's security. In fact, it is not possible to pay for this security. By the way, 100% true. If it was possible to pay for this kind of security, guess what? Harry would have paid for it. In fact, he also offered to pay. All right. Sorry, went a little off script there. Another, that the king had given assurances over Prince Harry's security. He has not, and this is exactly what he won't do, because he will not get involved in countermanding the Home Office, who determine it, which is why the whole problem has dragged on and on. On Friday afternoon, writers apparently briefed by the Sussexes said that Harry and Meghan will be staying in a palace provided by the king. Not quite. They've been offered a palace to stay in, as Harry has always been offered on previous visits. He has always declined. As of Friday night, and they had not actually let the palace know if they were going to accept. Ooh, these Sussexes love some drama, don't they? The prince's position previously was that Buckingham Palace was not safe enough for him. So how could it now be safe enough for him, Meghan, and the children? But the triumphant symbolism of it now, perhaps, is just too ripe to be resisted, especially as the Sussex star is falling. Sources in royal circles say the king felt bounced into his last meeting with Harry, which was in September. That meeting lasted under an hour, and the queen pointedly did not attend. It does not seem that it moved the dial in terms of the personal relationship between them. And here the king is being bounced again. Nobody at the palace had the first idea that the announcement was on its way and that Meghan and the children would be joining Harry. Of course, he will be delighted to see the grandchildren he doesn't know and who Harry has long refused to bring, citing security concerns. But the words emotional blackmail are being used about the announcement and the briefings which have followed. Not the first time when it comes to Harry and Meghan. There's astonishment from sources in royal circles over untruths being spun, and they are clear that this is not the way to repair relations. The Sussexes will have their meeting, but their behavior likely damages the chance of a reconciliation, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Michelle, this goes into the whole point of this show is that, yes, the Sussexes are coming, and the spin is completely out of control. The Sussexes have their camp. The palace has their camp. Then there are people, not unlike my friend Tom Sykes, who will report both camps to let us all decide. So the thing is that the big security meltdown, and this is really important, and Allison does bring up a very good point, that you can't buy this type of security. You simply cannot look at the police and say, I'm a celebrity or an influencer, which is what Harry and Meghan are now,
Right.
and then say how much to buy MI6 or how much to buy the police.
Right. You cannot buy the Metropolitan Police. And as a matter of fact, Harry kind of outed himself that he actually never really intended to buy the police. He thought it was his birthright. Remember that interview he gave last year where he's like, he served his country for 35 years. Apparently he served from the crib. So he thought because he's the son of the king, he is entitled. So first they came out with that fake story that, you know what, we don't want to pay for the taxpayers to pay for us. Metropolitan Police, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all. The case was that they wanted the taxpayers to pay for them. They even sued a tabloid who broke the story when they said that they wanted the public to pay for their security. Harry and his team fought back and said, no, that's not true. We're trying to buy the Metropolitan Police. And you're correct, Paula, you cannot, as a citizen. So therefore, the whole thing was a lie.
Yeah.
And Harry knew it. Harry thought that he was due to have it because of his princely privilege. And so he's a liar, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, well, I'll be nicer about it. And I will say his recollections constantly vary, as according to yes. Exactly. So who's going to pay for it? Let me tell you who's going to pay for it. The British taxpayers.
Yeah.
And here's why. Number one, the Ravik has said they will give local protection. That means in Birmingham for the Invictus Games.
Right.
Period. Possibly for Wellchild or Scotty's Little Soldiers, the other things. And the other protection will come if they stay on a palace ground. Now, who pays for the palace protection? That is, in fact, the taxpayers paying for the king's protection. So guess what, UK taxpayers? You on the hook for it all. Now, they're not staying at Buckingham Palace. Nobody lives there anymore. It's insane. There's been some chit chat of where they're going to go. Will it be Windsor? Will it be Kensington? And I have said, I believe it's going to, well, this is Kensington, but I believe it's going to be St. James for the simple reason that the only person who has a residence in St. James is one, not the only person, but the only person in their immediate circle is one of the York sisters, and they get along. And also William ain't there.
Right. They're definitely not going to Windsor. I believe that the royal family was very smart and very strategic in what they did. So people forget, this whole Operation Thaw, I'm sorry, but I don't believe it exists. I don't. They kicked them out of Frogmore Cottage so they wouldn't be comfortable in the UK. So when they come, they're treated like the redheaded stepchild, and they get the room over at Buckingham Palace, or they get a place at St. James's. They're not staying at Windsor Castle. They're not staying at Clarence House. So these are really their only two options, but they always usually take a hotel. So Harry and Meghan are very paranoid about being surveyed. And let's be honest here, the royal family has them under lock and key and on a very short leash. So this whole thing about, oh, King Charles wants to bring him back. If that man wanted to bring him back, he would be back.
Mm.
Okay, he would have been there for Christmas at Sandringham. He would have been at the wedding. They wouldn't have taken away Frogmore Cottage, and they wouldn't have stalled 2 more people for the counselors of state. They have pretty much did a fail-safe where Uncle Andy and little Prince Harry will never get the keys to the castle. Okay, so let's be real here. Harry wants to chuck his kids through the window of Kensington Palace so bad, but it's not going to happen. They're going to give him a little option, and if he doesn't want it, then he has to pay for his own hotel.
Yep.
So I think that's probably going to happen. And I'm going to say it. I don't believe those kids are going to the UK.
Oh,
I'm going to lay it down. They're not going.
Okay, well, I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
Okay.
I think that the only way, and
Yeah.
people need to understand right now, Charles has nothing on his calendar for Harry. His calendar is full up, and nowhere in there is a meet with Harry. So I think this is his only way of getting an audience with his dad is if the kids come.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I believe the kids will come. I believe that Meghan will come because she needs royal sheen on her. She needs to be seen as accepted again. I do believe any meeting will be private and no photos allowed, not unlike at Lily's birthday back 4 years ago when Lily met the Queen 4 years ago, and the Queen adamantly said, no photographers. Knock it off.
I do agree with that theory that the only way they would bring the kids, they're not going to bring them out to the public. They're not going to be public faced. It would only be as like a blackmail for King Charles.
Right.
And it would be a private meeting with no photos. Absolutely.
100%. And the reason why I say that Meghan and the children are coming is both ITV and the BBC have confirmed it. So the BBC, ITV, everyone says, oh, that's Harry's outlet. And it is. So when Harry says his wife and kids are coming, they are coming. And the BBC is, of course, the BBC. Now, I know that people have problems with the BBC, but they do fact check quite vigorously on royal things, maybe.
Okay, well, that's news to me because as far as I knew yesterday, it was kind of iffy because we never believe what Harry and Meghan say. They had to change a story that came out saying that they might. So again, I know Meghan is coming for sure, but the kids I thought were iffy. And if they did, they would be private. Now, in my opinion, Meghan is coming out because this is a test run for Invictus in 2027. She needs to reintroduce herself to the public of the UK people. They want to make sure they're not throwing tomatoes at her or booing her. And she needs to kind of, in my opinion, resurrect that reputation because it's not going well over there in Montecito. And I do believe that if Harry wants to come back to the UK, he's going to bring Meghan. But Meghan is like, they don't like Harry, but they dislike Meghan more.
Yes.
And so I think they're trying to do this as a blueprint test run for the Invictus, because let's be honest, this is a countdown. It's not even like a really big deal. Why would they bring their kids and Meghan for this when for the 10th anniversary in 2024, Meghan didn't go to that. And that was at St. Paul's Cathedral. They actually did have Metropolitan Police protection then, right? That was a huge deal. Meghan didn't go to that, but she's going to go to a countdown.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. It has a 1 year countdown. You would think it would be more, but again, they have to because the government has given 29 million pounds for Invictus. And and it's supposed to be matched by private and corporate donations. And so far, they only have 4 million. So Harry needs to go and do apparently what he loathes the most, drum up business. He claims he doesn't, but then again, we all read Charlotte G. String Griffiths' messages during the trial of Harry against the Daily Mail. Now, the most interesting thing for me is that they're planning on staying 2 weeks. They are going July 6th, 2 days after I leave the UK, which I know. I love it. but they're going July 6th, and they're apparently planning on staying for 2 whole weeks. That's
See, I
a
heard
big
5 days. Wow. Okay. So 2 weeks now. Yeah, I
that
knew
is
they had 5 days in the UK. Now maybe they have extended it. Yeah, because I know he has that one event on the 10th, which I believe is the one event for the countdown, and the rest is going to be his other charities. And that Meghan, as far as I know, maybe you know differently, isn't going to be doing any solo things. She's just going to be tagging along with Harry. So I don't know if that has changed. So,
according to Allison Boshoff,
mhm.
it is now 2 weeks, and I trust Allison. She
Yeah.
has immaculate sources,
Mhm.
impeccable sources. Not immaculate.
Yeah.
Where the hell did I get that from? I think I was, I went to go visit church this week. We'll move on. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. I love this community. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Also, my Substack, I do come out with some bangers a couple times a week. They are exclusive, and I do put it up before I talk about it. So if you want everything first, go there. All right, you guys have a wonderful weekend. And I'm going to go wake up the turd bird. I thought he was right there, but apparently my voice made him move. Yes, I see why. Okay, bye.